Before then, Nottinghamshire Police should overhaul its stop and search tactics, according to a new report. The survey also revealed that many people from black, minority and ethnic communities perceive the force to be institutionally racist and corrupt.
Well, the Police and Crime Commissioner said progress had to be made, and he pledged it was an opportunity that was not going to be missed. Well, we'll be hearing from Paddy Tipping in a moment. First, though, our Chief News reporter, Quentin Rayner, has been looking at that survey.
Curtis Scott and Ajani McCleary both live in St Anne's and both deeply resent having been stopped and searched.
If you're minding your own business and you're trying to go somewhere and you're being harassed and you're being told that you fit the description of this person and you fit the description of that person, you don't want to hear that because it's degrading, and sometimes it can come across like there's some racism involved.
They're just rude. Like they don't talk to me like I'm an equal or like, even like I'm a person. They just talk to me like I'm an animal.
Nottinghamshire Police insist the proportion of those they stop and search is a fifth of the national average. But a report written for the Police and Crime Commissioner uncovered a feeling that it's discriminatory and needs overhauling. 30% of those surveyed had been stopped and searched, but only 1 in 7 had been arrested. 60% of those stopped and searched had experienced this more than once, and 95% didn't complain to the police because they felt there was little point.
Is it needed, given that it is not really delivering in terms of the stops being translated into actual arrests? Well, you know, if only 30% or less lead to arrest, why actually undertake the practice?
The Chief Constable told the public meeting that officers are better trained and stop and search is targeted in high crime areas. He left it to another senior officer to address perceptions uncovered by the report that the force is institutionally racist and corrupt.
I would say that the force isn't institutionally racist and isn't corrupt. Clearly this report identifies that there are some perceptions that the police don't do the things that they want or don't do them in the right way. I think this report gives us a starting point to look again at that engagement, to look again at our formal and informal engagement and look to improve it, working with the communities.
The Chief Constable declared his aim to make the Nottinghamshire force the finest in the country. But with 30% of those in the survey saying the service is very poor or poor, that will take some time. Quentin Rayner, BBC East Midlands Today.
Well, today's report was commissioned by Nottinghamshire's Police and Crime Commissioner Paddy Tipping. Earlier he told me that action is needed on stop and searches, although they can be an effective tool in fighting crime.
No, it's a useful tool, but it's got to be used properly, and everybody's got to benefit. What's happening is there's a disproportionate number of stops to the black and Asian community, but the reality is that Nottinghamshire Police are working hard on this. The policies are better, but ultimately, when people are stopped, they need to be treated with respect, and that doesn't always happen at the moment.
So do you accept all of the recommendations in this report, and will you be able to implement them?
I accept the recommendations. What we've said is we're going to use the team to help us work through these issues. We're going to set up a working group. We're going to go back to the community in 3 months, and I'm going to implement the report within my 3-year term of office.
Are you happy with the scope of this survey? 590 respondents over some 3 months. Is it enough of a body of work for you to base work on?
It's people's perceptions. Let's be clear that people from the black and Asian community have been discussing these things for a long time. They're concerned about disproportionality in employment. They're concerned about stop and search. Look, we've been talking about these things for 20 years. So it's time to stop talking and take some action.
The Chief Constable was at the press conference, as was I, and he said that stop and searches in Nottinghamshire are a fifth of the national average, and that they result in more arrests than the national average, which suggests not only are they fewer, but they are not fishing expeditions.
They're doing well, but the Home Secretary said last week that the Notts Police and the police nationally could reduce stop and search by a further 25%. I think we've got to reduce it. We've got to convince the communities that these are legitimate tools. But most importantly, when people are stopped and searched, when you and your family are stopped and searched, you've got to be treated with respect. And I'm sorry to say that in parts of the city, that doesn't happen.
OK, Paddy Tipping, thank you.
In other news, a major